And it says, men will fear God and give honor to Him for your name's sake, because of your life. Men will go, whoa. And it'll click. So when Christ appears, here's my life, I'm going to appear with Him. Therefore, that means because this is true, in light of what I just said, put to death. He didn't say manage. Put to death your members which are on the earth. It's amazing. The first thing always mentioned is your sexual arena. Fornication. That's sex drive. Sex. He didn't say manage it. He said put it to death. The way you know it to be. I wonder if that came from Adam. Put it to death and find out what it really looks like in me. I know that's intense. I can feel wheels spinning all the time on that one. The morning after I got saved, I realized my definition of manhood could not possibly be the kingdom, because it was at the expense of another person. Nobody's on the earth to satisfy a desire in my life. Can I be bold and raw with what I said to the Lord that day when you weren't there, crying and crying and crying? I'm going to be graphic. Don't get offended at me. It was Holy Spirit. He showed me my definition of manhood, that I acquired it from when I found a pornographic magazine at age 11 on an empty loading dock on a Sunday afternoon and went. That's where it started. And then locker rooms and boy conversations, and all of a sudden I'm trained and taught by the lie. And now I think I know what a man is. And on that morning after I got saved, I was crying and you weren't there. And I was rocking on my floor. And I said, God, my manhood definition came to the forefront. And I said, God, you couldn't have made me this way. It's completely self-centered and focused. This didn't come from you. This came from the locker room, from the world, from a magazine. I said, there's no way Adam was walking in the garden with an erection and saying, what should I do with this thing? So you made a woman. I said, you have to deliver me. I've been deceived. And I can't even tell you the glory of how God touched me. We probably ought to be willing to put that stuff on the altar and let the fire burn it. I talked to 3 pastors about this in my life intimately, and they all cut me off and said, whoa, stop, you're freaking me out. I love my sex life, stop. Do you hear what they said? I love my sex life. I wonder if it's not your sex life. I wonder if you have a covenant of love and it's not about your sex life. Okay. You ask Jesus about what I'm saying, because watch this. You don't counterfeit $1 bills. And there's no area on the earth of humanity that's been exploited and perverted more than the one I'm talking about. You will find none that's been exploited, twisted, and on the forefront more than sexuality. That's because there's an incredible valuable holy root and lump there in truth that we failed to seek. So we just wrap Christian language around the world's way. Yeah. I want something a little deeper than, hey, it's been 3 days, honey, huh? I want something a little deeper than you scratching an itch. I love you. And you're the only one that I can be in this with, because I've given myself to you, and all that is mine is yours. And all of a sudden, woman was made out of the fullness of God in man in the garden. He didn't make another lump of clay. He made Jason in his image, to walk in him and be in his image and to be filled and complete and full in him. And he looked at Jason and said, whoa, it isn't good that man be alone. He didn't make another lump of clay and call it Tina. He reached into what was already there and one in him, brought out Tina and made 2 out of 1 so 2 could enjoy 1. So here's the deal. If Tina's in Jason's life, it ought to be because of the fullness of God in Jason, not the need of Jason. Because woman was created to be loved by God and receive the pure love of God through the man in that relationship and open herself up to what edifies, increases, builds, and brings the best on her. And it's a total thing of trust and unity and oneness. And she opens up herself and even opens up her gates. And he comes into that secret holy place, and two are one in that place. You can find it in Hebrews 10. It's a spiritual thing. You enter into the holy place through the sprinkling of blood and the veil of flesh. It's a spiritual thing. He gave you the privilege of experiencing that through covenant intercourse, where man goes into a woman through the veil of her flesh. There's a breaking of a veil. There's a sprinkling of blood. There's blood in the semen. There's blood covenant. The veil doesn't grow back because two have become one. And man goes into woman, into the depth of who she is, into the most intimate place, into the core of the woman, and two are one in that place. Two conceive in that place, and their love is multiplied and fruitful on the earth. We've turned it into one-night stands, sex drive, orgasms. Shame on us. We've wrapped spiritual language around the world, and we're missing the glory of God. I don't need my wife. I love her. And I don't chase her around and drag her by the hair with a club. And it's not, well, your body is not your own. That's obligatory. And it's twisted, and we ought to knock it off. I'm sorry I'm being so raw with this thing, but it's just the way it's in me, man. He reached into the fullness of God in the man. He's naming all the animals, and God's going, yeah, awesome, okay, whoa. He didn't correct him. He didn't upstage him. He didn't belittle him. He didn't say, you can't call it a giraffe. That sounds stupid. If Adam said giraffe, guess what it was? Because he's flowing in the wisdom of God. He's given authority to subdue. God looks at Adam and sees himself and says, man, all the animals have a comparable. There's none comparable to him. You're not a weaker vessel, women. You're not in the sense of a lack of value. He reaches into the man and brings out the woman. Out of the fullness of God in the man, and makes what was one two, so two can enjoy the beauty of one. Two souls, two wills, two emotional makeups, surrendered and dead to themselves for the common cause of His image, and the synergism of 1 + 1 is a stronger one. Yeah. That sure beats you do for me, I'll do for you. Hey, a marriage is 50-50 and a lot of work. My wife's very liberated knowing she's not under the pressure of breaking my heart and failing me. That's petty to me at this point. Oh my goodness. We think the people that we're closest to can hurt us the most. That's what we say. But they're the people you say I love, and love takes no account of a suffer wrong because it doesn't seek its own. We probably just need them more than we understand love. And we're depending on them for our sake instead of laying down our life for theirs. Come on, if you're going to talk about living love, we probably ought to bring it. We've hurt each other in our own homes. You got to get that stuff out of there. You got to let there be no unresolved stuff. I don't care if you did each other wrong. I mean, I care. I wish we didn't. But if we did, you ought to take a message like this and say, duh, what was I thinking? Forgive me, honey. Don't elbow. Say, oh my goodness, he's talking to me. Don't listen for your spouse. Listen for you. Because if you're listening for your spouse, then I'm surely talking to you. If you're sitting there thinking, boy, I hope she's listening, I hope he's listening, you've missed the whole point. God's shouting to you.